enjoying the nice weather down there?
It's not bad, man. Of course, looking forward to being king of the beach, but I'm looking forward more to being just a baller. So I'm looking forward to talking how we're gonna get that baller status on
Oh
Yahoo
my
this week. What do
God.
you think, man?
We gotta win it one of these weeks, right?
I think we're due. We're due.
I'm in total agreement with you. So if you haven't gone over to Yahoo and played, you absolutely should. Today's show is sponsored by Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports, home of the $200,000 NFL baller, kicking off this Sunday. And we also have a $30K NBA baller tonight on Friday. So $5K to first. If you haven't played in that tournament, that's a great tournament to go in as well. Yahoo Daily Fantasy Sports now includes CSV uploads and CSV edit features for those looking to play multiple lineups. You can claim up to $30 in YSRP points when you use the promo code AWESEMO. So get on over there and check it out. As we've been saying for a while now, competition's a little less sharp over there on Yahoo, and it is a great place to play.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. We see week after week that the competition just isn't on all the good plays. So I think that we can get a big advantage and become ballers.
Well, I'll tell you what, if Leonard Fournette ever does something one of these weeks, he's going to be loaded. I don't know what the heck happened to him, but he's got to get it back soon. So if you haven't watched this show before, basically what Alex and I do is we go through 5 of the top highest total games of the week, talk a little bit about them, about their pricing on Yahoo, about which plays we like, about which plays Alex likes, really, because that's why you're here. And then after the second half of the show, we are going to talk about, we're going to build one cash lineup and 2 GPP lineups for the Yahoo Dollar Baller. And that's about it. So, Alex, you probably got some pina coladas to drink. So why don't we get into it?
That's a good idea. Yeah, before this kicks in.
Awesome. So, kind of a weird slate. We were talking a little bit before we went on here. We're missing a lot of great teams. We're missing the Kansas City Chiefs on this one. We're missing the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know. That's probably going to be very good for my bankroll as someone who's not been playing enough this year. We are missing the Rams. So there's some great games in some of the primetime spots for the NFL this week. It's going to be a really good week to actually watch football, I think. We got the Pats and the Cowboys in the afternoon slot on Sunday, followed by the Packers and the Niners, and then the Rams and the Ravens. It doesn't get much better than that.
You know what makes football even better, man, is a good sweat. So let's do it.
I like it. All right, first game of the week. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Atlanta Falcons. We have a total of 51.5 in this one. Atlanta -4 over under. Anything you're seeing on this one so far?
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly the game of the week. Atlanta and Tampa Bay are 2 offenses I love to target in stacks because they pass so much, and just having them matched up against one another, I think that this is ideal for fantasy, and the odds of it being the game of the week are pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm just looking at our ownership right now, and the skill positions on New Orleans are going to go owned on Yahoo. It looks like Michael Thomas we have been projected for around 28% ownership. Alvin Kamara for around 20. Oh, wait, I'm just doing wrong here. I always get these NFC South teams mixed up. They're always shootouts. They're always high totals. So apologies there. We will get into the Saints, but looking at the Tampa Bay Atlanta game, Julio Jones looks like the top owned player from this slate, and then there's not really like a ton of ownership concentrating on some of these Tampa guys. I'm guessing it's a little bit of recency bias because they dudded so hard over the past couple of weeks. Mike Evans hasn't had more than 80 yards and hasn't had a touchdown in 2 weeks and has been in some pretty good spots in some high total games. Are you going to be stacking up the Atlanta or the Tampa side of this one, knowing that the Atlanta defense has looked like world beaters the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm not as worried about that. I mean, they have been surprisingly good and really dominating the football games, but we see that they're only a 4-point favorite here. So that means Tampa Bay, they're projected for like 24 points or something. The prices could be better. Mike Evans at 35, that is kind of ridiculous, but I do really like these guys.
But that's kind of like a solid pay up to be contrarian spot, isn't it? Like, if you can stack up a $35 Evans and a $33 $32 Chris Godwin to go along with $33 Jameis Winston and bring it back with Julio, you're not going to have much money left over, or maybe you go Calvin Ridley, but you will have a pretty contrarian high price stack. Is that something you might look at this week?
I'm skeptical they're going to be really contrarian because, I mean, everyone knows. I've talked to a bunch of people about this game, and everyone's just talking like Tampa Bay at Atlanta. That's the one game on the slate that people are looking at. So I think that, relative to how good of a play they are, they will be pretty high owned because they are so highly priced. Like, they may not be as good a play as otherwise. Because, I mean, if you buy Godwin, Winston, and Evans, that's half of your salary cap right there for three guys.
Yeah, that's a great point. What about the Atlanta side of things here? Or actually, sorry, let's just touch on Tampa Bay's other options here. Cameron Brate looks like he's maybe taken over top tight end duties on this one. I don't know. OJ Howard got like almost no run. Are you interested in Cameron Brate at all at $12 after coming off a 14 target game against New Orleans?
Man, 14 targets. That's insane. But let me just double check here. Man, you got 14 targets, really?
I know. We have them graded out pretty poorly in your rankings, but that could just be a case of maybe factoring in OJ Howard still. I don't know. It's this tight end position in Tampa Bay is really hard to pin down.
Yeah, I mean, let me go back and double check. Of course, these rankings I publish, I'm analyzing them for discrepancies all throughout the week to make sure that we get our money in good. But is OJ Howard's not even out, is he? So
no, I think he's actually had his injury designation taken off. So looks like he's good to go.
So I'm pulling up the snap counts right now. Yeah, so Brate, he played 47 of 60 routes last week. OJ Howard only played 12 of 60. So I might have to update this. I don't know how I missed that. But so let me plug in these new numbers. Generally, the tight end position isn't targeted a ton for Tampa Bay. But all right, so I'm adding this up, and I'm getting 33 yards for Brate. Although he caught a bunch of balls last week, the average yards per catch for him on the season is about 9. So a little bit harder for him to rack up a bunch of yards. And the price of $12, though, that's not bad. So what are you thinking here?
To this tight end, I don't know, but I'm kind of in that $12 range. I'm also liking a little Vance McDonald this week. Little Vance refrigeration. His first decent game of the season. I'm calling it.
I think he's more safe. Brate, of course. OJ Howard, some pretty tough competition for work. So we might have just seen him get hot and they rode it with him. But we'll see what happens this week.
Fair enough. What about the other side of this game? So we've got, Calvin Ridley finally had a decent game last week, but he has been priced up a lot, up to $28 on Yahoo. We have Julio Jones, $35, and then your boy Russell Gage, only a $2 bump or $3 bump, something like that. Even though he really didn't do much, he's still getting a fair amount of action in the 3 wide receiver sets. And then for the tight end options, it's looking pretty weak here on the Atlanta side. I don't know if we're going to Luke Stalker or Jaden Graham here, but any interest in stacking up the Atlanta side and bringing it back with some Tampa here?
Yeah, definitely. I think what you're saying about Calvin Ridley's price tag is certainly a reason to be concerned. Gage even isn't that cheap, so it does seem like it sounds better than it is in practice. But when you have two teams that overwhelmingly are the favorites to be the highest scoring passing attacks of the week facing each other, I mean, this is a great spot, and maybe it's worth the prices, but those are pretty steep.
Are you getting to any of the Brian Hill or the Atlanta running game after they gutted last week?
Absolutely. I mean, I think Brian Hill. Is Devonta Freeman back this week? I guess I should ask that first.
He's out.
He's out. Okay, so I gotta update this. I got some bum injury information when I made these on Tuesday, but
it's still early in the week.
Yeah. So let me pull up the snaps from last week. Brian Hill saw 39. And both played a little bit, but a little bit of a blowout there. So I think Brian Hill will be a pretty nice play once again, and that price tag is nice. What do you think?
Well, I think the price tag's nice. The matchup isn't great. Tampa Bay's run defense has been really good this year, still second in DVOA. So I'm a little bit skeptical, but at the same time, you're going to get some very angry DFSers who did not have Hill meet value last week, and he still got 15 rushing attempts. So I kind of like it actually, and I think like the ownership probably isn't going to be there. Let's just take a look at his early numbers right here. Actually, we have him projected for about 20% right now. So that might I might end up coming in a little underweight on that number just because of the matchup. But I can certainly see the appeal at that price. It's definitely one of the better values on the slate, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you got number one running back for 14, that's pretty good. I mean, I got a favor of some other running backs just for my homer reasons here, but we'll get to it in a bit.
Are you going to play a little Bo Scarborough affair?
You can call it, man. That's who I'm going for.
All right, let's wrap this one. You got any? We pretty much covered that game. You got any final thoughts on Tampa Atlanta?
Yeah, I think it might be better to play on other sites than Yahoo because of the prices.
All right, there you go. Fade on Yahoo. Take advantage of the lower price points elsewhere. Seattle at Philly, 48-point total in this one. Eagles, the line is moving a little bit. It's moved down from about 4.5, I think, to -1. A lot of people betting the Seattle side of this one. I was actually really surprised to see this as the second highest total game on the slate. And our consensus was that maybe this on the betting show was that maybe this total is a little high. Philly's defense looked great last week against New England. Seattle, I guess I'm a little bit more on the Philly side of this one, but DFS wise, anything you're seeing here that you like? Chris Carson seems to be pretty moderately priced.
Yeah, I think Miles Sanders is really standing out. He got a lot of work compared to kind of what I expected last week, and with Jordan Howard probably going to be out another week, even though JJ is coming back. Like, I think that Miles Sanders is going to be kind of like the core play compared to Brian Hill.
I love that call, actually, and you're getting him. Like, this is one of those spots where, like, if this ownership holds, we're going to have you do post ownership updates throughout the week, so this obviously could change. But right now, we have Miles Sanders projected for 3% ownership on Yahoo compared to 20% for Brian Hill. That's insane to me. So it's an extra $1 more. There's absolutely no way in hell that Brian Hill has an eight times the chance to outscore Miles Sanders, if you want to put it that way. And as well, Sanders got a lot of run last week, but it was also it was a tough matchup against the New England Patriots defense, right? It's not like it was a cakewalk, and this is a much easier matchup in my mind.
I hope you're right, man, because it feels like I might have a lot of miles this week.
I love it. I like it when we're on the same page like that. As well, like you have the Philly side of things where like they're a little bit banged up on offense. Alshon Jeffrey is questionable. Nelson Aguilar, the world's greatest tracker of deep balls, is also not looking great right now. He is $11. That's actually a pretty good price. Are you liking anything on the Philly side of the passing attack here? We got Nelson Aguilar for $11. We got Alshon Jeffrey is questionable at $17, which does feel like a decent price and a bit of a bargain. And then we have Carson Wentz at 31, and of course the two tight ends set two tight ends at leaders, Philadelphia Eagles, Dallas Goedert, and Zach Ertz, $14 and $22 respectively.
Yeah, I think that maybe Aguilar, if he plays, that's a good price. But these other guys, I'm not seeing a tremendous advantage because so we got Alshon Jeffrey at 17. This seems maybe a little high. Just going off this average of 11 fantasy points per game. Mm-hmm. Dallas Goedert at 14. I mean, he should be more like 10, but maybe if you love the Philly side, you take a shot there or Ertz. But I mean, Seattle hasn't been great on defense this year, but they haven't been horrible, so I'm not really seeing a great edge here.
What about a $10 Jordan Matthews if Alshon Jeffrey can't go? He had an 85% offensive snap count, was second on the team in routes run last week for wide receivers.
Yeah, that sounds pretty nice. So I think Philadelphia, one thing I will note is that they do have a pretty distinct role set for the wide receivers. So if Alshon Jeffrey plays and Aguilar misses, I don't know if we can count on Matthews to slot in for that many snaps. But if Alshon continues to be out, yeah, by all means, load him up.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. I'm surprised you don't have much love for Goddard here, even though like it looks like Philly's just running two tight end wide receivers, two tight end sets all game long lately.
Yeah, he's been on the field a lot. Let me pull up my numbers here. He's been targeted 38 times on the 185 routes, which is pretty good. The problem is maybe just too many mouths to feed here with Ertz and Jeffries, who I'm projecting in, Miles Sanders. So it's making none of them really pop out for me.
Yeah, it makes total sense. Let's get to the Seattle side of this one. We got $38 Russell Wilson. That seems like an overpriced, maybe pay up to be contrarian spot if you're into that. I mentioned Chris Carson at $23, which seems like a really reasonable price. Not sure why he's that cheap. I guess it's a tough matchup in Philly. Pretty solid defensive line there. We have Tyler Lockett, who is questionable and remained limited on Thursday, though he is apparently on track to suit up against the Eagles. Anything you're liking on the Seattle side of this one, and possibly their like new oh my God, Jacob Hollister is $18. That's insane.
Yeah, with that Dixon coming back this week, from all I understand, like I'm off of Hollister. But I think Lockett and Metcalf, or more Lockett, I think that price is kind of stomachable. Metcalf at 20 is overpriced in my opinion, just based on what he's been doing out there. But if you're stacking up Wilson, maybe you go with Metcalf and Lockett, but I prefer Lockett. I wouldn't say he's a lock though. I hate to say.
So you don't think people should lock it in?
Yeah.
All right. Here at the.
I don't think we're gonna win any comedy awards today.
Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, so looking at your grades and values here, Chris Carson, decent, B for points, C for value.
Yeah.
Kind of like middling grades for everyone here except Miles Sanders, basically is the kind of takeaway that I'm getting. So it's really just sort of to see if that ownership isn't there, in the second highest total game of the week. Maybe this is the way to go, because like Russell Wilson is getting almost no ownership and Carson Wentz is less than 1% owned. So really, like when you're thinking about this in terms of GPPs, I think it's not a bad spot to go.
That's surprising. I mean, Russell Wilson is supposed to be the MVP. I'd imagine more people would be on him, but I guess that just prices everyone out.
Yeah, I think that you're right there. It's a little bit surprising, but it must be the price. That's Lamar Jackson money right there. And we don't usually pay out that much for quarterback if we can avoid it. So, all right, let's go Carolina Panthers. Almost said the Hurricanes at the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans favored by 10 points here. I'm guessing they have the second or third highest implied total on the slate. 47-point over-under here. Anything you're seeing from this one?
McCaffrey has been good, but man, like you gotta be pretty skeptical this week when they have an 18 team total. Like that's not going to get it done for 40.
Yeah.
DJ Moore
there as well. Saints have the highest implied total on the slate.
Oh, they do. Yeah, so I think maybe going to Thomas or Kamara is kind of your spend up. That makes a lot of sense. Another team where the stack is just extremely expensive, so a little bit harder to get to.
Yeah.
I gotta say for Carolina, it's a pretty tough matchup. So I probably won't be on any of the guys. But do you see any value here?
It's not like the Carolina wide receivers just seem to be underpriced a little bit. Actually, the DJ Moore is getting a little bit pricier. Was he $23 last week? So I don't know, about the same. But he's had 3 straight great games, 100, 120, 95 yards. So he's kind of quietly become, I think, a pretty elite fantasy wide receiver. And then Curtis Samuel, $18, sort of playing second fiddle to him. I mean, it's certainly possible that there's some recency bias after that horrible Kyle Allen game last week that maybe people will fade the Carolina side of this one. And then perhaps you could build a contrarian stack by going up with some New Orleans, like bringing it back with Alvin Kamara and then targeting the Carolina passing attack. I haven't seen anything on Marshawn Lattimore yet, though. But, yeah, this is another spot where it's probably – a little bit pricier than it should be, especially on the New Orleans side of things.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. I think that maybe after getting burned last week by Kyle Allen, people will be off the stack. So tough spot. There's some potential there.
Awesome. All right. So Michael Thomas, Ted Ginn Jr., $12. And then we have one guy I actually rostered last week and burned me big time, Tre'Quan Smith. Did not do anything. Do you have any interest in these depth wide receivers for the Saints, and then also Jared Cook shaping up as one of the better values at tight end this week. Didn't do much last week, but he's only $12.
Yeah, $12 for Jared Cook is way too cheap. I'm in on that. That's definitely a cash or GPP play. As far as the Drew Brees stack, I think if you stack him Michael Thomas and Drew Brees, that's probably good enough. But if you throw in Cook there, I think that makes it even better. So it helps you build out that lineup with that cheap price point.
Now, would you go in a tournament of this size? Would you go with like a Brees, Thomas, Kamara, Cook stack ever, and then bring it back like three game stack like that at that regularity, or no?
Taking Kamara and Thomas is something I prefer not to do, but once every few weeks or so, we do see a game where both quarterbacks throw for like 5 touchdowns or something.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it's just once a season, but when that game happens and you just load up with everyone from the game, you're probably going to win.
Yeah, I still have memories of, I think it was the Giants and the Saints, and they played like 48-47 game.
That was insane.
If you didn't game stack it, you were done. So it does happen for sure. Yeah, all right. Let's move it on to the Carolina side of things just quickly. So Christian McCaffrey, $40. I mentioned Samuel and DJ Moore, and then we have Greg Olsen at $16. Anything standing out for you on the Carolina side of things, or are you more likely to target the passing attack here just because they might have to come back? Or I guess it's kind of a moot point with McCaffrey being so involved in the passing game, anyways.
If I was going to go with anyone, maybe DJ Moore. He's really the only guy that breaks that threshold of being in fantasy play for me. Greg Olsen might have if he was cheaper, but $16, that's getting up there. So not super interested, but if we're building a New Orleans stack, I'd probably throw in Moore just because it's hard for them to have a blow up when they're 10-point favorites without Carolina doing well.
Makes total sense to me. One of the nice things about the Yahoo slate as well is you get to play the Sunday night game, which I like, especially because the Sunday night game is usually a really good game. And that is no different this week with the Green Bay Packers traveling to San Francisco to play the 49ers. We have a 47.5 over-under here. We have San Francisco favored by 3 points. Anything standing out to you in this one?
Yeah, I think Garoppolo at 25 is a misprice, especially like – we've seen the 49ers have a lot of games where they run the ball a lot of times, but in a 3-point spread game, there's more likely to be passing. So like Garoppolo, it's pretty hard to call who to sack him with at this point because I think that there's some real question, will Deebo Samuel play? Emmanuel Sanders, I think, is probably a better bet, but George Kittle's back as well, so he might be kind of the go-to. But all these guys, you can't really trust them a ton with their injury status.
I didn't hear that. Is Deebo Samuel injured? I didn't know that.
He is, yeah. I think he missed practice, or he was limited in practice today.
All right. So yeah, we have all three of the 40. This is going to be tough, right? So in this situation, with it being the hammer game on the slate, if you're rostering these 49ers, you kind of have to have a contingency plan in place if we don't know about these inactives. So George Kittle trending towards playing questionable, Deebo Samuel questionable, Manny Sanders questionable. What do you do if you like a stack like that and you know that so many members of that team are questionable? Is there do you have some pivots lined up, knowing that if they're ruled out, you can go to them, or what's your strategy?
So what I did do is I rostered Emmanuel Sanders with Jimmy G, and of course, I think it was a one game or something, Monday or something, and that didn't work out at all because Sanders only played like half the game. So there's like significant risk here that these guys are playing pretty limited. And you got to know that when you're buying them. So if I was going to go to anyone, it would probably be Sanders, just because I feel like after a week of being limited, he's less likely to be as limited. So I might fire him up.
As well, I feel like if we get some positive reports about George Kittle, that's going to be a very contrarian play. I'll ship my money Chris Godwin a few weeks back, right? So
and if Kittle's out, you can swap to Ross Dwally, and he's just as good.
That's right. Just eat the $14 loss or whatever. Pardon me. Let's yeah, this 49ers team, your point about Garoppolo is really is salient. I think it's really hard to figure out who to stack them with, and that's why I've been underweight a little bit on Jimmy Garoppolo to this point this year. Like sometimes it's Kendrick Bourne, sometimes it's Richie James Jr. It's just really, and then sometimes they'll just pass to their running backs, right? So is this one of those spots? I mean, we also had a similar situation previously with Aaron Rodgers when all his receivers are out. Is this one of those spots where you can just go with a solo play at quarterback and take a naked Jimmy G, or are you just auto stacking?
I think taking him solo is a big disadvantage, so I try to avoid that. The reason being, it's just really hard to call when a wide receiver has a big game, and when a guy like Julio has like a 3 touchdown game or something, it's like a guarantee that your quarterback does well. So that kind of 2-for-1 is a huge part of the strategy in NFL. So it's not that I think that Garoppolo couldn't get it done without any other guys, but I'm just looking for that 2-for.
Makes sense to me. Green Bay side of this one, we got Aaron Jones, $32. We got Devontae Adams, who's questionable again, limited in practice, but this is probably nothing. He's still getting over his turf toe. Jimmy Graham, anything catching your eye here? Is this feels like another kind of contrarian pay up spot here with Aaron Rodgers visiting one of the tougher defenses, but he's probably a little bit matchup proof, right? You're going to get no ownership.
Yeah, I mean, I think Devontae Adams is pretty appealing because he's kind of the guy you can count on in Green Bay. The rest of the guys are kind of on a rotation, so. Yeah. Although Green Bay is not going to look like a great play from a projection standpoint versus one of the tougher passing offenses, we know that if they kind of excel, it'll probably be through Adams. So you get a lot of correlation there.
Absolutely. And like back-to-back games, November 3rd, November 10th against Carolina and the Chargers. He's had 11 and 10 targets. Didn't do much against the Chargers, but 120 yards last week against the Carolina Panthers. Or was that 2 weeks ago? I guess they're coming off a bye. So not bad numbers in return for Adams, and I think the questionable tag may scare people off a little bit, but he is absolutely looks like he is back at her. So definitely like that call, and seems like a very reasonable price. All right, let's get on to the game of the week. The Oakland Raiders traveling to New York to face the New York Jets.
Oh,
doesn't get better than this.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that's the game of the week, man. Let's go.
Oh, you missed that memo. Yeah. Jets +3, 46.5 total. This one's kind of gross. I was actually kind of surprised that it's still a fairly highly totaled game. Let's talk about the Jets first here. We got Sam Darnold at $26, which seems like a bargain to me. And then you've got some possible options to pair him with Robbie Anderson, $15, Demaryius Thomas, $17, and of course his tight end Ryan Griffin, who is quietly having a fairly decent second half of the season here. What are you doing with the Jets passing attack? Do you have any interest in this at bargain basement prices?
A little bit of interest. I think the hard part is kind of pinning down who they play will be, because Robbie Anderson, Thomas, and Crowder are all like somewhat even as far as targets. As far as Ryan Griffin, I probably think he might be more popular because he won people all the money last week. So what I'm landing on is maybe Le'Veon Bell at 20. That seems like a nice price, and they're only 3-point dog. We have been seeing Bilal Powell get more run. Yeah, 20 for Le'Veon Bell, I can buy none of that.
$20? That seems like a pretty strong bargain. 7 attempts in each of the last 2 weeks for Bilal Powell, but that's probably in part because Bell's been banged up a little bit too, and he's not appeared on the injury report. So maybe you can get ahead of that news. Like that seems like essentially he's been one of the 3 bell cow backs this season with Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette, only 3 backs above 90% snap share up until his recent injury. So I think that's probably one of the better bargains on the slate.
Yo, Nolan, I just saw you flash your little A's hat there. I mean, are you pulling for the Raiders then?
Oh, of course, man. No. I like wear a different hat every day, and I just anytime I go to a baseball game, I buy a hat. So I look like a poser all the time.
I thought you were about to be a secret Oakland just mega fan. So
I probably shouldn't even be wearing it because I'm a Niners fan, man. It's like this is bad juju.
So, man, who are we stacking with Garoppolo then?
Your your guess is as good as mine, man.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So we're both on Le'Veon Bell here. What about the Raiders side of this one? Derek Carr, $28. Josh Jacobs coming off I would say disappointing effort against Cincinnati where he was the chalk. And then Terrell Williams, $25. Hunter Renfrow as well, kind of making some inroads into this Raiders offense, getting about 4 to 7 targets every single week over the past 5 weeks. What are you doing with the Raiders side of this one? Do you have any interest at all? And of course, I should mention our boy Darren Waller, who hasn't really been like elite for a while, but has just been putting together some steady performances and is still reasonably priced.
I was tilting last week because I was watching at Red Zone. I think Waller got a touchdown called back, and if it didn't, I mean, we'd be talking about him like he's chalk. So it's just like crazy how much like a play can swing things. I think Carr is pretty reasonably priced for a team that's projected for 25 points. About it's easy to stack up with Williams and Waller. Williams is quite overpriced here. But I like the correlation with that, and you can run it back with Bell. You have a nice little stack with a lot of the main pieces in this game.
There you have it. Let's just quickly go over before we get into the next segment. Value plays on this slate. One guy really standing out to me, we will probably get to in our cash games. Julian Edelman looking pretty good for $20. Is that someone that you're going to be going to up against Dallas with no real passing options? Seems like he's our only AA graded wide receiver this week so far.
Yeah, man. Oh yeah, I'm gonna be on this. New England versus Dallas. Dallas's offense has been pretty efficient, so tough matchup for them. But New England should have to pass the rock a lot more than they usually do.
I like it. All right, tell us what we got over at Osmo.com right now.
Yeah, so I mean, what don't we have might be the better question. But
it's easier to say what we don't have.
Yeah, I think everyone watching probably is a little bit familiar with the stuff, but it's not really any one thing we have. It's all of them combined. So we have the videos, of course, for free that help break down the slate, and that provides you that analysis, which you can kind of weigh your own opinions versus, as well as a lot of free articles, some of the premium articles as well. And then you kind of use those, that information you learn from those. If you have less time, of course, the articles are quicker. Then you go to the site, you start making your lineups, use the projections, use the ownership, use the top stacks tool. And I mean, everyone kind of can apply one of these tools, but like applying them all at the same time to build a good strategy, that's how you're going to really excel in fantasy football. And not only are we giving you the tools, but also telling you how to use them. So I think you get a little bit of an arsenal when you sign up.
Absolutely. Couldn't have put it better myself. And of course, we do have really cheap packages. If you're just new to DFS or you're just starting out, we have some that start at $4.95 per week. If you just want to get access to the rankings and the ownership rankings express packages, that's www.osmo.com/join. Come on over, check things out, and also join the Slack chat too. We've got a great Slack chat, great community of people in there, just always breaking down the slates and super helpful, especially for late breaking news for other sports like NBA and NHL as well. And please help us out by giving this video a like as well. I always forget to ask for likes, but helps us out a lot. Greatly appreciate you tuning in to watch us today, and helps us keep these videos free. So, all right, it is time to build some lineups. You ready?
I like it. Yeah, I'm always ready, man.
I'm always ready to build.
All right, let's build our cash lineup. I'm looking at cash games here. We got a $5 100 person. That'll probably be one of the ones I recommend. I think there's a big advantage to joining the ones with the most people. So like they offer cash games up to 100 people. There aren't like 100 pros or even close to that on Yahoo. So that means most of the people you're playing are just kind of playing for fun.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a recipe for success. You got to play people that you're better than.
All right, I like that. That seems like a good option here. So okay, we got let's start off with quarterback position.
Yeah, man. So what Wow, Jimmy or Josh Allen at 24, like that
Ooh.
seems pretty appealing. What do you think?
But at Denver, I don't hate it, man. $24. You got some rushing upside. Pretty safe floor there for Josh Allen. So I feel like that's not a bad option.
I mean, it stands out a ton because like just looking at the fantasy points per game, he's at 20.
Yeah.
The next guy above 20 is Matt Ryan at 33. So
Oof.
you're just getting a huge value here.
Yeah, that's pretty much a lock, I think, for cash. Like maybe the only other one I'm like decently priced is like Tom Brady at $28. But yeah, give me the $4 in savings there. Like the others in this range are Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph, and I feel a heck of a lot better going with Josh Allen in this situation.
Yeah.
All right, let's move it on. Well, I think one guy we can both agree on for sure. We might as well just pop Julian Edelman in the wide receiver spot, right, for $20.
Yeah, I like it.
All right, and now I got ahead of ourselves, but we can go over to running back. So Joe Mixon, $16. That seems like a really good deal. Miles Sanders, 14. Leonard Fournette, 23. Bo Scarborough, 15. Take your pick. Le'Veon Bell, 20. What are you liking here?
I kind of like that Mixon price because they're just been like running the ball extraordinary number of times for some whatever reason. So let me pull up his game log real quick. Of course, he had that 30 rushing attempt 2 weeks ago, and last week 15. What do you think about Mixon?
Yeah, I like that. I like that price point a lot. They're trying to feed him the ball. They're 7-point dogs or 6.5-point dogs to the Steelers this week. But the Steelers are a pretty banged up team too, and it just feels like they're with Auden with AJ Green out, they're going to have to force feed this ball to Mixon and Gio Bernard. So I like them. I think they're going to try and focus on trying to slow this game down and run it. And I'm big fan of Mixon at that price.
Yeah, the great thing is if they're down big too, I mean Mixon's still getting the run the ball, so they're not even trying to win the games at a certain point.
Exactly. Yeah, he had 30 rushing attempts when they were down like 4 touchdowns to the Raiders or something, right? Or 2 weeks ago.
That's great for cash.
Yeah, absolutely. Miles Sanders?
Yeah, I like Miles Sanders too. I mean, he's just really, really cheap.
Yeah.
That's a no-brainer.
All right. What about tight end here? So we got OJ Howard, $10 CA, but not very safe play. I would probably rather go to a Jared Cook at $12 or Vance McDonald at $12. Mike Gesicki, $12. Anybody standing out?
Yeah, McDonald and Cook. Cook is kind of he's been playing most of the snaps recently, and he's got a pretty good offense behind him, so I'm gonna lean that way. But McDonald, you're saying that you're really into. I think he's also a great play.
Nice, I love it. Let's go with Vance Refrigeration here.
All right, let's see it.
Game coming in. We're a little contrary.
Okay. All right, we got abundance of money. You wanna maybe throw a defense in here?
I like it. Okay, we got 2 double A grade.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, this is an obvious one here.
It's the very bottom one, right? Washington with Driscoll as their quarterback. Or against Driscoll.
I was going to say Atlanta Falcons at $11 going up against Jameis, the turnover machine Winston. But if you like Washington, let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's another good one. Tampa Bay actually can put up some points. I know Detroit had a good game last week, but actually Detroit's favored in this game, 23 points. Maybe I'm a little bit optimistic here. Do you want to throw in Atlanta then?
I like Atlanta.
Okay.
How much money have we got left over?
A lot, man. We have 34 per person.
Oh my god. Okay, I gotta fill this out real quick here.
All right, Michael Thomas, Julio.
Wow.
That's what we're looking at.
Okay, so who was our other running back here? I can't see the screen.
Mixon and Sanders.
Mixon. Okay, great. And then tight end was Vance McDonald. Okay, so we have 2 wide receivers and a flex, $34 left over.
Yeah.
So let's pull up our wide receivers. Julian Edelman. Okay. DJ Chark, $21. I guess we don't really need value. Sounds like Thomas and Julio are pretty good bets here.
Yeah, you gotta love both guys, so that makes sense to me.
Thomas. Julio, 35. All right, that's not bad. $33 left over. Is this a super flex? Because we can pop in. Oh, I got it. Let's just roll with Saquon. No, $31. Saquon Barkley is cheap here, man. I kind of like him there, but hasn't done much. But
I kind of like Chubb versus Miami. I mean, they're a pretty bad defense.
It's a safe bet. This is a really good looking cash game, man. Or cash lineup.
Yeah, I like it.
Do you want to do anything with this extra $2?
Oh man, I don't feel great about Josh Allen, but I don't know if I'd feel better with anyone. $2.
Like you need, I think 4 to get up to Brady would feel a little better, but
yeah,
not the end.
What about, let's see, running back, $18 maybe. Breida, no. Maybe we just let's look at defense. I guess.
Jalen Samuels, no.
Defense, $13. We could pay up for the Tampa Bay defense.
I mean, I think we can just leave it as is too, right?
Yeah, we're good here.
Any wide receivers, 37. Mike Evans, no, nothing. Yeah, it's a pretty good lineup.
I think we're gonna make $10 there.
I might. I'm thinking that's gonna win a GPP right there.
All right. I mean, it's a lineup you might get FOMO if you don't enter into the GPP.
I know. Sometimes I don't press send or I get distracted on these shows and I don't actually enter it. So I got to make sure I'm getting it in.
Yeah. All right. So contrarian stack.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so let's pull up our ownership here. Pull up some quarterbacks.
Man, Miami's defense hasn't been all that bad. Like, if you look at the whole season at this point.
Yeah.
I was kind of thinking Baker, but maybe not.
Yeah, I think they're probably trying to run the ball too, but I don't mind that. What's Baker at ownership-wise?
I'm not sure. Who's the chalk at?
Bad. So the chalk is the chalk is Matt Ryan and Jameis, 18 and 14. So and then as well Josh Allen, 18%. So
nice.
Carson Wentz, 1%. Tom Brady, 1.
Brady's kind of nice then.
Dak, 1%. Yeah. And then you get the benefit of having an Edelman stack in there too, right? So
yeah, we like Edelman. So Brady,
Edelman.
I think this might be the first year where Brady has been contrarian in any week.
I like it. Do we want to include a second wide receiver there? It's kind of tough to figure out, or go with like a James White or something, or is it just a one stack? Okay.
I kind of like the White call. Yeah, I mean, if he's throwing the ball a lot, you got to think White could have a good game.
Yep. 7, 3, 5, 8, 9 targets. So it's not like he hasn't had some correlation. Just hasn't really hit the scoreboard yet. So
yeah, another guy that has gotten some touchdowns called back. So maybe just running bad.
Certainly going to be unique. Bringing this back with really tough to bring this one back though, right? Like,
I mean,
Cooper. Are we going Zeke? Like, what's the strategy here?
I think Cooper. It's a little bit of a spend. We could go with Gallup. He's been pretty good. But
yeah. And then, I'm guessing Gallup will avoid Stephon Gilmore a little bit. Like, that's probably a plus matchup. And he's
Gallup at 17 seems like a pretty nice price point.
Yeah, we got ourselves a pretty cheap stack here, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Running back. So, do you still want to spend down a running back in this one, or?
I'm not really.
With Fournette in yet? What's going on?
Fournette, I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Then at
there's a lot of value on this slate, eh?
Yeah, I mean a lot of guys in the teens that are pretty good. Like
Yeah.
We've talked about them all at this point. But.
A lot of bargains at tight end, a lot of bargains at defense, a lot of bargains at wide receiver. Like there's a lot of different ways you can go. So it's kind of nice. Just basically, I think in a situation like this where you have a lot of pay down options, do you sort of let ownership dictate where you go a lot of the times?
Oh yeah, I mean that's a good way to do it. If like there's a lot of options that are pretty equal, then you go for the lower owned one.
Should we put a defense in here?
Yeah, I mean, man, I can't believe New England's averaging 18 points on defense. That's insane.
It's pretty nuts.
Oh, how about like maybe something? Do you feel like maybe Browns versus Miami could be a good one? I'm really honing in on this game.
Let's do it. Let's Brown. You want to stack them up with Chubb too?
Yeah, I like that.
All right, we got $25 left for a wide receiver and a tight end.
All right.
So we got a choice. I mean, pretty weak options at the top here. I think I'm on team pay down this week and grab like a Cook or a Vance or a Goddard. But what about you? Are you do you want to pay up for a Waller or Kittle or?
I'm feeling like maybe I keep rolling out Waller. Like he's been busting, and maybe the train has kind of gotten off him.
The $1 million Waller.
There we go.
Oh, and then we look at this. We got enough money left over for Devontae Adams.
That just fits like a glove.
Yeah, sign me up.
All right.
Well, there you have it. We got another winning lineup.
I like it, man. When we split this 20K, that wouldn't be too bad.
I just lost my screen here. Okay, we got about 10 minutes left. Time to build another one. So this was our contrarian stack?
This was the chalk one, I think.
That was the chalk?
Well, no, we built the contrarian one. Now we got to build the chalk one.
Okay, yeah, okay. I was going to say.
So you said Ryan or Winston?
Yeah.
Which one
Ryan,
do you think?
Allen, since we already got an Allen team too. Yeah, it looks like both of them are kind of where's Winston here? Looks like Ryan's the better value.
Okay. Should we go with Ryan then?
Let's go with Ryan.
All right.
Now, are you like, I feel like a double stack is okay here, but what do you think?
Man, Ridley is so expensive. Like, yeah. I feel like Julio is like kind of obvious, and then do you want to take another shot in Gage, or are you feeling maybe, I guess the tight end
last week? He had a touchdown called back, which was ridiculous. That was last week, right?
Man.
So he's getting like, he's not great though. Like he's got a 48% snap count. Like he's clearly the third dog in this offense.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't know. I think I don't feel super good about it at $15. Like I don't know. Is he really gonna? Yeah.
Well, I'm cool just having Julio. I mean, he goes out and gets 3 touchdowns once a season, and why not for Tampa Bay, right?
Exactly. I'm with you there.
Right.
The real question is who we bring this back with.
So Godwin's been the one that's cold, if I recall correctly. Do you think maybe we take a shot on him?
I like it. Let's do it.
All right. And then I think we got our stack.
Beautiful. Little mini stack there. All right. So running backs, we could just go on like all Miles Sanders, 100%.
Yeah, there we go.
Miles
Sanders.
He's still contrarian in his current ownership. So
wow.
Like even though we have a chalky stack in there, we can pop in a $14 Miles Sanders and get contrarian on the field. It's a great option.
Yeah. I like that. Brian Hill's another option, but picking the running back with quarterback, I probably prefer to avoid it.
How about $20 Lev Bell?
All right, man. I kind of like that for GPPs. Now we got $16 a person. Maybe we go cheap at defense.
Yeah.
So Giants versus Trubisky, maybe.
Oh wow, bold.
I think we got to go contrarian because we got chalk at the rest of our lineup so far.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it.
Okay.
Target Trubisky.
If Trubisky starts. If Chase Daniel starts, it's unregistered this one.
Yeah, I like it. Tight ends.
All right, tight end. So maybe we spend down this time. What is the ownership on Vance?
Let's take a look.
Or just
Or who?
more and more throughout the season.
Who? Jaceki? Did you say?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's looking a lot. He's looking better by the week for sure. Pretty good start. So
another guy where he was kind of the chalk a couple of weeks back, and now everyone's forgotten about him.
Yeah, exactly. Both of those guys equal ownership, 15%. Jared Cook, 23%. So I think I'd rather go with one of those two.
Okay, Vance.
Let's do it. I think, Vance just has a pretty safe floor, 96% snap count.
Nice.
Both of their top options out. Playing a Bengals team that's been pretty bad against opposing tight ends this year, so why not?
Yeah, actually, I think Deontay Johnson's going to play this game.
Is he? Oh, man, that could be a sneaky one to keep your eye on.
Yeah, because, man, I was shocked because that concussion he had looked bad, but he's practicing full.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I think he might be a good play this week too, but I don't know if he fits this lineup right now.
Yeah, and I think he's going to go he's probably going to go way under owned. If you're looking for good show to watch on Sunday mornings, by the way, we have the new Inactive show where we go. We have basically 3 shows combined into one stream, and then Eric Vujvodich and Sam Smith go down all as the Inactives are breaking. They break them down and talk about what the best options are for your DFS lineup. So make sure to tune into that as well. $20 left. I feel like this is. Should we fill it? Do you want to go cheap running back flex and pay up a wide receiver, or do you want to pop in like an Edelman at wide receiver?
Yeah, either one. What do you? Who are you looking at?
All right, let's see what we got for cheap running backs here.
All right, cheap running backs. I think we didn't get a Scarborough lineup. That could be an option.
All right, let's do it.
Scarborough, I'm not expecting to do a lot in the passing attack for the Lions, but he ran almost every running play, and they're facing Washington, who's a pretty weak defense. So I think there's merit there.
The only problem with adding him into this lineup is that there's not a lot of great options in this range at wide receiver, unless you an Odell Beckham kind of thing. Maybe is Odell Beckham could be a sneak play. He's due 12 and 10 targets his last 2 games.
Man, yeah, I don't love it.
Can't condone it. So let's
maybe Lockett, 27.
Yeah.
And then who can we get 14? That's that might be tough too. But I know Brian Hill would fit at this point.
Lockett and Hill. Yeah.
Let's see. Chris Thompson's back. Dallas Goedert.
What about Kalen Balazs?
Oh, what is he, man?
$11.
You have me pretty interested. I think that could work, man. I doubt anyone will scroll down that far to get him. So he'll be pretty low owned.
He did have targets though that last game, so it does make me feel a little bit better about using him.
Yeah. He's playing a lot. He's a workhorse back on a team that sucks, and that usually doesn't pan out. But when it does, it could be huge.
Now we have a choice to make here. So we can go with Davante Adams, who's the clear better play, or we can add in the correlation of Calvin Ridley for $28. What option would you take more often than not in this situation?
Man, I just really am anti-Calvin Ridley, to be honest. But
I like it.
I mean, we know he's not a top guy, and he's $28. Or Davante Adams, he's clearly the top guy.
Fair enough. Let's roll with Davante.
All right. But the correlation is a big factor. So I don't feel really strongly one way or the other.
Makes total sense. Let's just see I just want to look at Ridley's ownership here. Yeah, he's getting about 7% ownership. So I do think that if compared to Julio, 22%, but Davante Adams isn't getting much more either. He's at 9%. So it's not it's a big
I like it.
Either way. There's some really nice spots that you can pivot to, like Odell Beckham getting 20% ownership. For $6 more, you can get Davante Adams. DJ Chark grades out as a really good value in your rankings, and he's just 7% ownership. So there are some nice pivot points in here if you want to get off the chalk. Though I don't know, maybe it's narrative street. I'm thinking Beckham's got to have a big game one of these games.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to happen sooner rather than later.
That is
But
not an Osmo endorsed take.
no, I mean, it's true. There's a lot of good players in the NFL, though, so there's a chance that all these guys have a good game.
I like it. All right, that is going to do it. We got to let you get back to the beach, man. It's nice.
Thanks, man.
You got to relax. I'm sure you probably have to spend the next 4 hours doing projections and working, but we'll let you get back to it anyways. Good luck, and King of the Beach is that this Sunday.
Yeah, man.
Awesome, man. I hope you take it down and win one for the Osmo team here. As always, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you don't mind hitting that like button on the way out, you can always come on over to the site. We've got loads of free content as well. Emacs article, the Yahoo dollar bill, I think is already out this week, which is great. So if you click on that article and then click on, there's a promo code in there that leads you right to Yahoo, and you can use promo code Osmo.com to get 30 free YSRP dollars. So make sure to do that. And that is going to do it for us. We will be back. This season is dwindling quickly. We only have about, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5 weeks left at this. It's nuts. Yeah. So make sure to enjoy this. Take it in. Enjoy these last few weeks of football, because we will be lamenting it come February. Thanks again for joining, everyone. We'll see you next week.